Hey, look, welcome back, man, to episode 6. Look, we moving right along, and we still catching some traction. We got all 4 fellas back on track. I know the last episode we was missing one of the most boisterous folks on the chat, my man Josh, but we got him back, ladies and gents.
Yes. I'm glad to be back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look, before we jump in, I just want to reiterate what this table is and what it means for us, man. This is a space of vulnerability, making sure that we're open, we're transparent, we're giving our perspectives from 4 different viewpoints, right? I think 4 different upbringings. We have a couple of people that's on that had a mother and father household. We have 2 that didn't. So definitely different perspectives on that end. And I think this is the space where we want to make sure that we can answer any questions wholeheartedly from our perspectives and where we are from today. And even if it's not something that we've relived, it's something that we kind of look forward to in terms of our vision of how we want to expound on certain things going forward, even within our lives. So just as much as we teaching and we telling people about our story, we're also learning about ourselves along the way too. So I think that's the biggest thing when I take the most from this. So look, welcome back. This is going to be episode 6. We're going to be kicking off. And I'm going to go ahead and take the rims on this time, but let me just start out first with what's up to my guys, my man Zach, my man Josh, and my guy Doc. Got us back, all 4 of us, once again. But just to start off with the episode topic and conversation, man, unlearning the hustle and loving without performance. Man, I think that's just so much to unpack in itself. And even to jump into like one of our first questions, let me get it started off. I'm going to pass it over to you, Doc, if you don't mind, start it off for us. But for you, how has hustle culture shaped you and your view of relationships, bro?
Very loaded question, man. I think ultimately, and not to say anything about any other race, but I just think, just speaking for Black people in general, man, our hustle is times 2 off the bat. And so, when we talk about just availability in the job market, we'll hustle from that standpoint as far as like making ends meet. When we talk about hustling in the standpoint of, just trying to be at peace, where you're at in your own situation. Well, I think there's different ways you can define hustle in itself, but how I'm looking at it and interpreting it as it pertains to relationships is just like relationship is based on the love, but it's also based on the partnership. In that partnership, I think you both have to have a certain level of grind and hustle, to make sure that when I'm decreased in my job, career, whatever the case may be, or if I'm at the same job, but, just different pay, all those things, like as it fluctuates, we have that mentality in a sense of a hustle to where like, we're going to continue to make ends meet the best way that we can. And so I view it as it pertains to relationship. It's just like, that's a part of the partnership that a relationship entails. It's a mandate to be completely honest with you. And I also think because there could be some listeners out there as well that's just like, well, somebody had that hustle, but whatever happened, it kind of diminished over time. And so, again, as a partner, is your responsibility to help them like find that again, like motivate in a certain extent. Yes, we all grown out here. We should portray a self motivation attitude, but sometimes, man, our situations can be so traumatic, to where it's hard to bounce back from, or you can bounce back, but it takes some time. And so for me, I'm just happy that I have a partner to where, if that were to happen to me, I feel like, it's not something that will be foreign language for her to tap into if it's necessary as far as that hustling mentality in a sense. So, but yeah, I'll pause there, man. Hopefully that all makes sense, but I'll pass it over whoever else, has some standpoints on that.
Yeah, man. For me, personally, the hustle culture hasn't really shaped my view on relationships, but I've seen how easy it is for others to fall victim to it. Grind mode can put blinders on you. You get so focused on building, earning, and leveling up that you stop paying attention to what's right in front of you. And that could be your family, your spouse, sometimes even yourself. And, with that constant hustle comes burnout. And burnout brings neglect, man. And first you start neglecting yourself, then it trickles down to your partner, then your kids, then your friends. Oftentimes, like we talked about a couple episodes ago, man, calling your boy to just say, I'm just checking in on you. Yeah. But sometimes with that hustle, man, you forget to check in on your spouse. You forget to check in on yourself, man. So the hustle culture can be both a blessing and a curse. Because nobody wants to be stagnant. Nobody wants to be lazy. But you have to remain whole within that idea of hustling and going out there and getting. I think the drive is powerful, man. But if you're not careful it can cost you the very people that you're hustling for.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would agree with that too. Just piggybacking off what Zach said, being in a profession, we've been taught to go out there and get the money, go out there and get the bread, stay low until you come up. The grind mode, you know what I'm saying? It's a proven fact that a person doesn't really hit their peak until late 30s, mid 40s. You know what I'm saying? So it's essential that you get this grind mode out in your early 20s, early 30s, so you can try to see some of the fruits of your labor. I feel as though that a young person in today's time, you don't really get to reap the benefits of what you even try to do until you get to your late 40s, mid 40s, early 50s. It's all about grind mode. It's all about give and go. I'm trying to make the next dollar. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pick up this overtime shift. In the past times, I can speak from my perspective. Just saying with my line of work, I'm working 12-hour shifts. That's a long time. I wake up probably somewhere around 4:30 in the morning, and I don't get home till 6. So but I'm married to the hustle. I'm trying to grind. I'm trying to get this money. Having somebody to come home to, that's an issue. Let's say I did have, a family that I had to come home to, and then I've been up since 4:30, and I have to come home at 6. So the significant other has been there with the kids, trying to take care, trying to cook, trying to clean, and I've been at work for over half of the day.
Yeah.
24 hours in a day, half that. Yeah. So it's all about perspective and allowing yourself to not get so much involved in the grind mode to get the money. But sometimes it's not all about the money. It's all about quality time. You have to make the money. Because life be lifing. You have to go out there. You have to go out there and get your money. You got to, because
absolutely
those mouths don't get fed, and ain't nobody just giving out giveaways.
Yeah.
Hey,
and I think in that perspective, Josh, sorry to cut you off, brother, but I think even looking at how your situation is, this is perfect grind mode season for you, because and I even try to tell people all the time, like, man, this is the most, if not being married, not having kiddos, which all of that is a blessing,
right?
But enjoy your time right now to be able to grind, because this is the most time that you'll ever have, at least within this certain range of time, like until your kids get older, or you've seasoned into your marriage. But I respect that from you the most, that you're able to go and do 12 hours. I mean, there's people that got kids today that can't wake up at 4:30. I'm one of them. I'm not, and you doing it right now. So I think that's ingrained in you now.
Yeah.
At your current age. So imagine when you get to be, get to the marriage stage and having kids, and how you can kind of still make sure you section your life off.
Of course, I will take it when I get married and have a family. I will take a step back. But as it's just being me and my dog, I want to get every dollar I can. You know what I'm saying? I want to work the opportunity to work overtime as I can. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just me. So I have to worry about just me. So I can be selfish. In a sense,
it's okay to be selfish for yourself too.
But there's also a time that I have to know that I don't need to pick up this extra shift, because I need to give my body time to heal. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
As we get older, and to listeners out there, when it's time for you to fall back from the overtime, and you need time, because you don't want your body to shut down on you. You know what I'm saying? You know when it's time for you to maybe I shouldn't pick up the extra shift. Maybe I should just stay home and rest a little bit, because the mind. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah.
The mind comes with the body. Everybody teaches us to go chase that bread, go get to the bag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you're in the opportunity to do that, do that.
Yeah.
But it's also essential, if you're getting the bag, make sure you save something from the bag.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I was about to tap into, bro. Because I think and it might be like, we the last of the dying breed as it pertains to like a hustle culture, because some could argue that, for the generations after us, that's non-existent. I feel like there is a level of, people who might argue, that kids growing up now don't have a hustle mentality at all, and they want a lot of things granted or just given to them. And so like the opposite end of the spectrum is just like, we gotta try to keep cognizant of the things that we're doing to scale back. But some kids growing up now, they need a kick push. They need a you know, like to really get out there and try to do things for themselves. Like I want my kids to have the best life. But in that, I got to strike a balance, you know, by not having everything handed to them, man. They got to work for something because it's, like you said, life be life. And I think you said that earlier, Josh, and that's exactly what it's going to be. And it's going to hit. You know, I can't stop you from my parenting from it hitting you. I could just help you be strong enough to withstand the blows that you're going to get in life.
Right.
And I'll say
Right.
this, and I know Doc can resonate with this. It's an insider, but I have to have more. In order to have more, you have to do more. You can't have it unless you take advantage of the opportunity it gives you more.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, man. I recently just heard
100%.
today. I can remember. No, it was actually church. I can't remember. God forbid me. So just sorry, but today at church, the pastor, he was speaking on like the current generation of kids, and you know how we try to give them things that we didn't necessarily get when we were younger. So giving them so much raises their expectation, but it also limits the amount of energy that they put towards getting it because they know that all they got to do is ask for it. So I think just hitting on y'all's 2 points makes clear sense. Like, and we've said this in many episodes before, but I do think that in a sense, I do worry. I do think they'll be fine, but I do worry about our next generation of kids that's coming along because of like all the access and things like that they have have at their fingertips, and some of that includes us. Like my granddad told my dad for a long time, like, bro, child support don't never stop. Like when your kids get to be adults, it's still gonna be there, and that's and even today at my big age, you know, it still may be some moments where I'm like, yo, pops, like, yo, I might need some assistance with this. Can you come through and maybe help me lift something, or slide me a couple dollars to get this, you know, straight for the kids and this and this, or even just for myself. And I think that in a sense, like that has gotten so much worse for our next generation. Because I'm a spoiler. I'll spoil the hell out of my kids. But then I think back, I'm like, bro, like what you talking about? You want to go you want to fly out to LA for your birthday? What we finna do? But then again, at the same time, I think that we kind of opened him up to that by just doing certain things, but we didn't think about like the collateral damage that it was doing on the back end. But I think that in terms of answering that question, for me at least, in terms of how is hustle culture shaped your view of relationships, it's twofold for me. One, I'm a hustler in general. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to try my best to find additional ways to do something for just me, make more money if I can. I'm going to go and try to like meet people. I like to talk to people. I'm going to build relationships. So I think that hustle mentality for me in doing that has also kind of is leaked into my relationship too. So I think like keeping all of that, like the hustle mentality, you know, mindset for me is like, it's at times I feel like it's overworking myself for me. And that's just at time. I mean, you know, the last episode we hit on some of the things in terms of gender norms, right? And I think that even thinking about some of those, like, yo, babe, let me clean your plate, but I'm still keeping everything on mine that I have too, like in terms of expectancies. So in a sense, I think hustle culture is cool. You know, I do think it's good to be able to try to free somebody up. But again, I think we hit on this many times too. I think it goes both ways. As long as we can agree that hustle culture is a thing within our relationship, our marriage, then cool, I'm good with it. But I think even then, me personally, that's just how I am. I have that hustle mentality, whether it be finding additional gigs for, you know, bringing some income in, or doing additional things just in general. And not even that, but I ain't even talking about money. I'm talking about like just energy and taking some weight off of people. I think the hustle mentality, man, it shaped me personally. It shaped my relationship, and it's shaping my relationship, but it also can be detrimental too. I feel like it could be something that's heavy. So I think even with that, I think that this may jump into a whole different piece of the conversation, because at times I may do it for me, but I feel like me doing it makes my spouse get used to it, or many other spouses get used to it, which is scary to think about, right? But for you guys,
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, is there a difference between like being needed versus being loved? And or more so, can it be both? But is there a difference between being needed and then being loved?
Absolutely. Shit, it's a major difference. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you ever help somebody, right, just because they needed you, and as soon as their need was met, they just switch up on you, you know?
That's
So
correct.
I think, you know, that's the difference right there. Being needed is transactional, you know, and being loved is intentional. A lot of people are stuck in situationships where they're only valued for what they do, for what they can provide, and not for who they are. And with that kind of dynamic, it doesn't last, you know?
Yeah.
So not without love at the anchor of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can be this individual that's here for the kids and not for the spouse, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or the lady can be there because homeboy getting the bag and she want to be taken care of. When that bag gone, and she's still going to love that dude. And she's still going to be this person that he thought that she was.
No.
When the kids leave out of the house, is this union still going to be built on the principles of I stay for the kids? And absolutely no, right?
Yeah.
So if you building your union just on solely the kids, and I'm locking in, I'm staying here because I don't want my kids to grow up without a parent, because I didn't grow up without a parent, where they see the real aspect of work of marriage being done right in front of them, or where they see the transaction of it. My dad he paid the bills, but I ain't really, you know. My mom wasn't really around. She was always with her friend. You know what I mean? It's a lot of situationships, but yeah, it's a big difference, fellas.
Man, I don't even know if I have anything to add to that, to be honest with you. I love the analogy, Zach, like literally like a need is transactional and love is intentional. Like that hit home for me, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I digress on this question here, man. I don't know if I would add anything additional to what we just heard, honestly, man. It's very much of it sticks out like a sore thumb, I think, as far as like the difference between one another. It can be similar, but love has to come at the forefront, because at that point, you know that if anything hits the fan, you led with that. And that person, you know, even if the need's not necessarily there anywhere, the love is still there. As a parent, like, I know my kids are always gonna like need me, quote unquote, but there's a lot of things that they won't need me for, you know, anymore. And my hope is that, you know, love is at the forefront to where, like, as they kind of continue to get more independent, you know, I'm not feeling at a loss. You know, I'm not feeling so disconnected from them because I'm used to doing for them in certain capacities.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a question for Doc and Derek. You know, y'all are fathers, great fathers at that.
I appreciate it, brother.
At what point, and for the listeners, at what point do you cut your kids off as far as giving, in a sense? You know, at what age do we hold them accountable? Like, you're my daughter, I need to go ahead and let you be on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You're my
Man,
son. You need to go ahead and be on your own, because
Yeah.
what we see and what I see in my environment, you know, where I work at, in the culture, you know, mama is taking care of Earl, that's 35. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, why you had to say Earl, bro?
Right.
Earl's Jr.
like Earl's still staying at the house with mama. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the dad's always gonna be the one, like, you need to let that boy be a man. Let that boy be a man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the mom, you know what I'm saying? So my question is, y'all, at what age, or what's the determining factors for your kids to be like, hey, I raised you.
Yeah.
Train up a child the way that they should go. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Bible says. You know.
I think it's exactly that. I think, honestly, for me, anyways, you know, I have a 2-year-old and a 2-week-year-old at this point.
Yeah.
But I think so. We have time for that, and maybe DB has a different approach because, you know, your kids, you know, teenage years, things like that, and stuff like that. So it may be a little different. But for me, anyways, in my plan, and that is just like what you said, man. Teach a child the way they should go, in the sense of, I'm going to incorporate things in the mix of in the mix of me giving. I'm going to incorporate things that how you can help me as well. Like, growing up, if I want to take my little shorty to the movies or whatever, I had to get up Saturday morning, wash the car. I had to do all of these different things, right?
That's
to
it.
get a little
That's
$20, $30
That's
to
it.
go to the movies and get some popcorn and all of that. Nothing is going to change in that regard, because while change is necessary, I do think there's some traditional attributes that needs to carry over into this era of time. And so to answer your question more specifically, I think I'm going to, like, in me giving, yes, I'll give you this, but it comes with a cost, similar to how life is outside of this household. It's going to come with a cost. Nothing is free. And so hopefully in me doing that and instilling it at an earlier age, as they get to a point to where they're just like, okay, like, I'm a little bit older now, maybe going off to college, whatever the case may be, or even graduate from school and stuff like that. I know as a parent, the need is still going to be there for my child. Absolutely.
Right.
Life happens to where they'll, you know, even if I try my best to put them in the best situation, things can happen to where I'm still going to have to step in more than I would like to at that time frame, or whatever the case may be. But I'm hopeful at that point it's not going to be something that I push on them as much. They'll already kind of have it from 5 up until, that time of college or post college, to where it's just like, you know what? I can be self sufficient for myself. I don't need a push. I can do this for myself because I've been doing it. And it's something that's like second nature for me at that point.
Yeah, no, I think for me, man, I love the thought on that one too, Doc. And great question, Josh.
Yeah, really great
And man,
question.
I'm trying my best to instill that now for my
Yeah.
my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old, and my 13-year-old. Don't get me wrong, but my 5-year-old, my 3-year-old, they'll be like, "Yo, Daddy, can I get a donut?" I'm like, "Look, you can't get it until you do this." You know what I mean? Like,
Until this,
kind of
right,
like
right.
I get it. I'm not purposely coming with an ulterior motive, but I do want them to know, like, for you to get this, you got to do the prerequisite first. Like, it's something that comes with that. So even for my son, my oldest son, my 13-year-old, he just did a lemonade stand not long ago, and I'm like, bro, like with this, you putting in the work, you literally going ahead, you squeezing the lemonades, you sitting there looking up, putting your own recipes together and doing all that.
There we go. I love
From
that.
there, you start making your own bread, cool, and then from there you spend it. But I mean, as all people are, when you go make your own money, you're a little more tight with your money. But so I'm teaching him that too.
Right.
But man, I think it's. I don't get me wrong though, Josh. I'm a victim of both though, because I'm definitely a victim of. He hasn't done anything, she hasn't done anything, and I still gave something. But at the same time, as they continue to get older, I do put it in perspective. Like, yo, listen, even for my oldest son, I'm like, bro, you're a little bit older than your siblings, obviously, and you can understand a little bit, more things. You can break it down a little easier than they can. So from here, and I may throw an example out to him for him to kind of like prepare himself in a sense. And again, I may do it the first time for him, but I'm like, yo, listen, come over here and watch me do this, because I want you to see what it takes to put into this for us to get this, because it ain't nothing that's free. I mean, and I was like, bro, you can't think of a thing that's free. And most people are like, no, water free. Nah, we get paid. We got a water bill every month. That ain't free. Right.
Absolutely.
Even when they say buy one, get one free. Nah, you still got to buy the first one. The second one might come free, but you still got to buy the first one.
Love's not even free.
Love is not free, bro. It's not. And I think for me to even hit on this question and this topic of like, is there a difference of being needed versus love? It's definitely a difference, but I think that they should be. It should be clearly expressed in a way that it's clear. Like my wife, she knows that I don't need her. Like, now I'll get you. I got a quick story. One day, my wife, we was packing to go somewhere, me and the kids, and she started packing the closet. Like, she started unpacking the closet. Like, look, I'm gonna go ahead and get the clothes ready. I'm like, yo, I did this before you got here. Like, I used to do all of this. I don't need you to do this. You don't have. Trust me, I've done this.
Right.
You're fine. Go and relax. I got this shit covered. And go from there. Granted, my wife, at times she'll take a trip, and I have to travel with the kids by myself. I don't enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, but I can do it. Right. And we've done very well when we hit the road and hit the flights together by ourselves. And I love getting the compliments from the people in the airport, but that's beyond the point. But all in all,
your kids are so well behaved.
No, word, yeah. Like, look at them. They're holding hands. They love each other. You must be a great dad. But I make sure I give that recognition back, because it goes back to just being loved. Because I show love for my wife even when I'm not there. I'm like, yo, like, my wife and I, we do a very good job together. And I make it a point that I say that when they see my kids acting good somewhere. And they're like, yo, your kids are well, man. You must be a great father. I'm like, well, my wife and I, we both put the energy into the kids. Yeah, it's not just me. At the crib, we got a small village. It's us 5, but it's just us. But I ain't doing it by myself. So in a sense, I think I make it a point to be known that I don't need anybody, right? But if it's certain things of you pouring into me, I'm hoping, and I think I told you this, Zach, and Josh too, that if you pouring into me, I'm hoping to God that I'm pouring back into you, because you might not need me at that point, but you enjoy my company, you enjoy what I'm pouring into you, and likewise I enjoy it on the back end as well, in terms of you pouring back into me. So all in all, I think that there is a stark difference between both being needed and then being loved. But when I feel like I'm being needed and I'm just being used, I think you'll quickly kind of see myself kind of float off, unless that person has understood that, like, we got a mentorship kind of relationship. Right. Cool. Right. That's what I'm here for. And then we kind of go from there. But yeah, that's me. So I guess even kind of moving into the next piece, what version of yourself do you perform in relationships? Are you more like the fixer, the provider, the achiever, maybe even the overachiever? Zach, I'm gonna pass this one over to you for the first one, brother. In terms of like, what kind of person are you in your relationship?
I identify most as the provider. I'm not gonna lie. This instinctually who I am as a person. I love to show up in that regard as the provider, and I take pride in that. But I've learned that sometimes I have to step into the role of the fixer too, and truthfully, so does she, my wife, that is. There are seasons in a relationship where you have to adapt. You know, you got to be willing to pivot. And providing isn't just about money. Fixing doesn't always mean something's broken. And achieving isn't just about personal goals. It's about reaching new levels together when we talk about relationships. So my biggest advice would be find a shared purpose in a relationship and work toward that. So understanding that purpose builds partnership.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach, follow-up question for you, man. Just curious. It's like, wait, you mentioned that you identify more so with the provider. Which one would you say you struggle with the most out of like the fixer or the achievement aspect?
That's a good one.
I struggle with the most as the fixer, and this is just personally within my relationship because my wife is just as strong as me in the aspect of wanting to provide. So
I feel you.
sometimes when I'm going over to try to fix a thing that I think that may be a crisis or may be an issue for her, she's so strong and so independent that I now beat myself up of like, damn, I put myself in this space of being a fixer and she really ain't need my help. She just
ain't
needed a
even
little bit
need
more
my help with
time
it.
because she brilliant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as the instinct of me wanting to be a provider to swoop in and fix it is just like, I just needed a little minute, baby, but thank you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
Yeah,
gotta
right.
be able to
Right,
compartmentalize that humbling in a
Right.
sense, or rather that self-checking and like, I'm good, I got it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's one I struggle with the most is being a fixer because, you know, she's not a weak woman at all. She's very strong-willed,
Respect,
very strong-minded, very
That's
independent.
heavy. That's a good one. Yeah, I think kind of me jumping into this one. It's funny because I'm trying to figure out like which one do I more so show the most? Because I feel like I try my best to do all three, which may not be an amazing thing because I know at times I kind of can piggyback off Zach on that one in terms of like being the fixer. If I know that my wife is like having a rough day, I tend to try to quickly jump in and try to like find out what the issue is, dissect it, and fix. And sometimes nothing really happen that fast. I mean, you could think of like something physical, mechanical. If something's wrong with your washing machine, there's so many things you got to take on loose to actually find what the problem is. So it's not going to be a quick fix. And for me, I think I tend to, at times at least, I may band-aid it or try like to do a quick fix. And it's really not necessarily like fixing the problem. So,
Right.
so I would say I did have to kind of ask a specific question. I'm like, hey, yo, listen, like, is this something that I can actually help you with? Or is this more so something that you need to kind of like work on for yourself?
Right. And you just trying to vent.
Man, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I get it. If it's something that you can, you know, I'm gonna back up. But look, you come to me if I can kind of release any kind of burdens or anything like that. But the provider, man, I think my wife and I, we both are the same in terms of providing. But I do think the achiever, I would say both of us are probably equal at that too. So I think that the one that I probably do the most in terms of performance is probably right now. It's probably gonna be like the provider. And I think it's not necessarily just because of like working and bringing in the income, but because I want to make sure that my kids are taken in certain places. So I try to give that time back to my wife. I'm like, yo, look, I'm going to take them to gymnastics. I got that. I'm going to drop my son off at practice. I'm going to pick him up. You know, I got this. Like, I might miss some stuff, but even then, like, my goal is to like be the one kind of like in motion for the most part. So, and then the one that I think I need the most help on, Doc, is probably the fixer. Just based off my example at the top.
Sure.
Just to fix would probably be something I'm still trying to work on, and making sure that I'm in the right spot. I might just be a tool belt holder in terms of being a fixer. I might not be the one that need to be the mechanic in this situation, bro.
Right.
So all in all, like, let me figure out my spot, and then from there, I may then begin to excel. But I think we as men, we like to excel at whatever we got in front of us. So I'm working on all three, bro.
For sure. That's respect.
I can, you know what I'm saying, answer the question. I mean, I feel as though that in my past relationships, I've always tried to be that provider. I was taught at an early age by my father, going back to episode 1, you know, my dad always told me that, you know, you need to be that provider. You need to be that strong figure. You need to be that strong tower because if your mama tell me she comes in after a hard day of work and said, I'm not never working a day again in my life, you got to step up and you got to take over. If your mom comes in and she says she's never working another day in her life, you got to pick up that slack. So that has always resonated with me, you know, and that's why I work as much as I do, and that's why I've always had that work ethic to do the stuff that I do. Like I said, waking up at 4:30 in the morning. But in a relationship, in my past relationships, I have always tried to be that go getter, that provider. If you need something, although we're not married, if you need some help, a lot of women to nowadays they're a little stubborn, and they don't want to admit that they need help. But if you need help, and we're in a relationship together, I feel like as your partner, I'm here to help you.
Right.
Man, that's so heavy though, Josh. Because I mean, you're right. Women, but also men. We're no different.
Also, man, I'm gonna say, yeah.
Man,
We definitely be like that too.
Man, we're no different in that space, bro. And I think that if we can even kind of like start the relationship off of those kind of conversations, because a lot of people don't even start conversations or relationships off of like what's your background, what's your credit like, and I ain't saying like to start off with that. But correct. Once we do combine, like we get together, that stuff go like we're now, yours is mine and mine, and to buy a house today,
that's correct.
They go off the worst credit score.
Yeah. That's correct.
Yeah, but they go off the worst one in terms of how the loan gonna look. Trust me, I've been through that process with my wife, and at the time, my credit was shot. So
that's a lot with the dating scene now, because I feel like in today's time, nobody wants to get deep. You know what I'm saying?
And it's right. Surface level, man.
We date for a good time. We dating for a good time. We're not dating for a long time. We're here in the moment. But in this season that I'm in, I'm dating to marry. I'm 32. I turned 32 August the 5th. Shout out to me.
Hey, we waiting patiently for you too, brother. Join the fold, man.
It's Leo season, man. But in this older age, being 32, I'm dating to marry. You know what I'm saying? But it's just pivotal that you have to be with somebody that aligns with you, that you're on the same page. That we kind of sort of have these discussions, these serious talks beforehand. Let's not wait 3, 4, 5 months till we get down the road. Let's have these discussions about finances. How do you feel?
Yes.
How do you feel about 50-50? How do you
even
feel
parenting?
about, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have I've dated several people in the past, that we just didn't align on certain things, and I knew right from the jump, this is not what I want.
Yeah, and what's funny though, man? I think that some people think that because there's two things you said. One is alignment. You have to make sure that you're aligned, and this is probably where I differ. I think that me and my wife, we balance each other out so much, bro. So we're not aligned in like a bunch of areas. And it's funny because one of my friends was asking us this a couple weeks ago, and they're like, "Yo, like, how do y'all make this work?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm so up here in terms of like, I'm not just like everything, not status, not level, but I mean like, I'm boisterous, I'm outgoing. I love to talk to people, bro." Right. And my wife, she's like, she don't really do much small talk. Like, you got to come with her. You got to come correct to her and like being able to have some oomph about this conversation. But she ain't gonna ask you like, "Yo, how you doing? How's how's the family?" Nah, she gonna ask you some deep stuff. And so, and I'm like, man, that joint just like tones us out so much and it levels us. Cause I'll be the one to start the conversation. I'll be like, "Yo, babe, you gotta finish this. I might be getting socially tired. I'm exhausted. Like this smile starting to get fake, But my wife, she can continue those conversations. So even in that aspect, even in being a parent, like we have different upbringings. So the alignment might be a little off. And then the 50-50 piece, man. So many people talk about the 50. Ladies now will cut the whole conversation off if you just say the words and the numbers 50-50. but 50-50 is not this. Is not. I hope that people don't look at it the same, bro. In terms of financially, 50-50 now is like mentally, emotionally, and financially. It could be financially too. But I'm hoping that if you ask a female or a male, no matter how it works out, what do you bring to the table? So many people are so offended by that question. Like, that's a real question to ask. Like, real question. What do you bring?
I need to know. Yeah.
It is a real
I think
question.
it boils down to with the 50-50. Sorry to cut you off. I think in order for you to be able to give 50%, you got to be happy with yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't pour into your spouse and put all your ego, pride, or your selfish or your own agenda for it, unless Derek is happy with Derek, Doc is happy with Doc, and then you can in return and say, in order for this to work, I got to be able to give this. There's no way you can do that. And some people,
Yeah,
like you said, they get the aspect of 50-50, and it's like, I got to get half my paycheck. No. I want you to be able to say, you put yourself first. But after putting yourself first, because truly you can't make yourself happy or make your children happy if you're not happy, and I want you to consider me. And at the level of the same way that you consider yourself. Some people just look at it at the financial aspect of it. We talked about money in the last episode. It ain't all about it. Your wife was making more money at some point, right? But you still gave what, Derek? 50% to make a complete 100%. But understanding sometimes you might got to get 70.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all I'm about to get into. Sometimes
You might got to do that sometimes.
Correct.
And that's sometimes being what they like to call a bigger person, or just understanding in that season, you might be the one that God has given the tools to help you all navigate or fix that washing machine, like Derek tried to, hint on to earlier. You might got the tools in that season, or you might just be the dude just holding the belt. You need the wrench.
That's it.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't be laughing at my analogy, bro.
I'm just saying.
Hey, I pulled that one out the hat.
That was a great pull. That was a great pull.
And all that goes back to alignment.
Yeah.
Who do you align yourself with? You know, in my past dating, in relationships, I want to be with somebody that sees the same vision that I do. That's motivated. That's a hard worker. You know, that's goal oriented, family oriented. You know, we have to align on these certain things. Do you follow Christ? If you don't follow Christ, you can't follow me.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's a big one. I think there are some non-negotiables. Then there are some things to where I feel like you also have to welcome being challenged to as well. Like, I don't have a specific example that comes to mind right now, but I agree. Like, some of the things that was called out as far as like God-fearing, family orientation, like, all of those things, those are my non-negotiables. Maybe not to other people who not really close to their families, things like that, I am.
Right.
And so, like, that's very much valuable to me. But then again, there's some things where I feel like, could come into play to where we may not be solely aligned on, but like kind of DB hit on, it still balances us out in a way to where it's just like, I didn't even know that was something that I needed your help with. And so it's like, it's like, yeah, we don't see eye to eye on everything, but that perspective may be the very thing that's needed for us to continue on and grow. And then, like we called out before, in the next season, it might be me bringing something to the table to where it's just like, we're pushing this agenda forward or whatever that is. So I definitely hear that. And I think that it's also just for our viewers anyways, for people who are looking for the stars to all align, I don't think that's what Josh hitting on. I don't think that's any of us are hitting on. We're just like, have your standards, obviously, especially the person who you want to spend the rest of your life with or see yourself with for a long period of time, but also welcome the things that you're not accustomed to, because your way is not always the right way, or how you've seen things growing up is not always the right resolution for said topic or said situation. And so, yeah, welcome that, man, because perspective, man, is lost in a level of connection. It's like what I seen at face value, that's what I expect to see for the remainder of our days. And the reality of it is like, that's just not how it's going to be.
Not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen. So don't even expect that. So yeah, man, that's just my 2 cents that I wanted to throw in the mix there for showing that question. That's a very layered one, but a good one.
Oh yeah, man! It was one. I can't remember where I heard this. This was years ago. At the time, this lady and this wife and husband, they might have been bumping heads or something like that. And it came at the cost of like how the husband was treating their son, their kid. And I noticed that this, in a sense, was like the alignment piece, right? She actually was aligned to my man because of how he was as a person. The question came up from either whoever that neutral party was had asked this lady, do you love this man, and do you love how he is as a man today? And her answer was yes. And he ended up responding and said, well, why do you get in the way of what you love, the person you love? And now he's trying to redirect your son into almost the same mode as he is, but you stopping him from doing that, bro. That resonated so much, because I was like, I mean, if you love me in terms of how I am, this is the person you chose. You chose me, I chose you. But you stopping me from treating my son of the same way that I was, and it's not necessarily raised. I think we change things as we continue to get older, especially based on social norms. But if you stopping me from, directing him that means that you almost ultimately kind of stopping me from being myself,
What
and
does
you
that
don't
say
necessarily
about you?
fully
Yeah.
deeply. Yeah. So, man, that spoke so loud to me, bro. And I think that this is a nice segue into the next piece of question for me is, how does performing love rob you of connection? Because I mean, even thinking about that example of who I am, and then I'm trying to direct. I feel like now you're stopping me from doing what I need to do. So how does performing love rob you of a connection just in general?
I feel as though with the climate and the era that we're in, and I don't want to do a deep dive into this stuff, but there's a lot of pretenders out here. Okay, and we spoke about it in a couple episodes in the past about marriage. Everybody
Right.
wants to post on Instagram. They want the nice tux, they want the nice wedding gown, they want the bridesmaids, they want all this other stuff. That's a performance, and you performing that. The average marriage, I believe the average marriage lasts about 5 years.
First 5 years is that trying
The,
time for sure.
the
Yeah.
average marriage lasts about first 5 years. If you can press on past that 5 years, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you beat the odds, you beat the statistics. While you're out there trying to perform and trying to show off and try to put on for the gram or for this and for that, just to live this image, you know what I'm saying? You might be missing Mr. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like why you
Very true.
standing here? Why you standing here to our listeners? Why you standing here with Mr. Wrong when you know you shouldn't have been with that guy in the first place? You know what I'm saying? You're missing out
Or
on your
girl.
Mr. Right.
Yeah. Or girl.
I just feel
Oh,
like
girl, yeah,
I feel like performing isn't sustainable.
right.
My mother used to say, "You can't wear a mask forever." So eventually, the
correct.
true colors will show. So, and she was right, man. So if you're performing love, you're trying to look the part instead of living it. You're not forming real connections. You're managing a perception, as Josh hit on. You're
Right.
managing on what everybody wants to see: the picture perfect marriage, picture perfect relationship,
Right.
picture perfect spouse. And when that mask slips, everything you've built is on top, or everything you built on top of, rather, it just starts to crumble. And that can crumble in like, you don't see them post no more, or she don't post her dude that much, and you got people saying, y'all still together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It goes
Yeah.
so many different ways, man, because you want people to see this perfect picture.
That's it.
Yeah. They archive them pictures on
And you
Instagram.
oh, man. But if
Yeah.
a picture speak 1,000 words, man.
It look.
Well,
It
you know,
look.
1,000 words don't mean nothing if you
Right.
guys are pretending for that.
Absolutely.
On your wedding day, you was happy as all get out. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
You got all the notification, the repost, and everything
Yeah.
else. Everybody was so happy for you, but you're miserable at home.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. I totally agree with that. I think I look at this question at a slightly different lens. Um, and here's what I mean by that. So I think so for example, the lens I'm looking at this in is more so of like, if I'm performing, like, let's just say my wife's love language or whatever the case may be, or what I feel like, I think to your example, DB, of like what I feel like our child needs or our kids needs and things like that, and losing connection. My point is on this one is that I think people's perception of love is always cookie cutter and clean. Love sometimes is not like that. A lot of times it's not like that. And so there could be times so where, like, because I have like a deep found love in you, I'm going to correct you even though it's going to hurt. I'm going to tell you the things that you don't want to hear at this point in time, but I love you that much because I don't want to see you go through the same thing again. And so sometimes performing that and being that jerk or being in that situation or being like whatever that may be, it's not even to your significant other. It could be family members, friendships that's like, long, extensive and things like that. I think just being that person in a sense, and you're leading it with love, but that person isn't ready to necessarily change or hear what you're trying to say. That could definitely disrupt the connection. So I think sometimes people want to perform love because they know that that's what that said person need. But oftentimes it's also like the way or which love is being shown at that point in time, because I could love you and say, yo, I love you, everything peaches and cream, I'm going to enable you in this thing. Or I could say, no, I truly love you and I'm going to pull you out of this situation because I'm tired of seeing you go through that. I'm tired of us having this same conversation because obviously you didn't learn from the last 5, 6 times. And so that's love to me. And if I'm performing that and the other person isn't trying to receive that, that could definitely knock that connection off all the way. And it's happened to me, family members. It's happened to where it's like you get to a point where it's like, yo, I got to speak on this thing. I love you that much, and it can kind of get to that point. So I think I definitely agree with everything that's been said, but I think that's just my slightly different approach to like that question of like, I'm performing this love and it's genuine. I know it's needed, but this person isn't ready to receive this, and our connection is now at a disadvantage because of it.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit on indirectly, Doc, by just saying like the difference of like loving from the heart and then loving like to maintain an image, like that cookie
Yeah,
cutter
for sure.
piece is like it's not the same. I mean, look, I can go holler at Doc, I can go holler at Zach, and even pre-marriage, I can go holler at my man Josh and say, yo, look, how was yours? And I'll guarantee you, it was totally different paths of getting to where we are today.
Right.
And I mean, and just imagine that amongst all the other relationships out here. And
Right.
then, and I think that just loving from the heart, bro, it does come from the correction. It does come from speaking your mind and trying to be comfortable in your own skin when you provide that feedback, and not necessarily just keeping it like restricted to like and I'm gonna take these words from you, Doc, but from a cookie cutter type relationship, like expectations. Man, I really hope that people really see that there is a way to see it and to do it differently, because it's no relationship would be cut out the exact same. I mean, it's almost going down the street. You see houses like my house. I know they got a couple of different replicas across the street. That's diagonal here, but it's like, bro, what I need to go there for? If I'm already in mine, what's the use of going to that one to go check that one out if I'm already seeing that here within my house? So I think that people expect the same thing from relationships, and so many people are just completely different and on different paths in terms of the direction of their roles.
For sure.
But
it can sound cliche, but we talk about performing love, and then there's an act of love. There's a big difference between those two things.
That's a good point.
Performing love, in my opinion, is you putting yourself in a space of pretending. And the act of love might not always be received as a loving place, but I've done this. I've held you accountable because I love you. I did this nice thing for you because I love you. God is good all the time. I've given you, this act of my love, and I'm not performing it at all. I'm just doing this on the sole purpose of loving you. And I think the act of it has no room for performing. It's just the action of that love.
That's what the old folks call tough love.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it. The act of love. Yeah.
That's
I
the act
feel
of
that.
love. There's no performing in that. It's just this pure action.
I'm gonna correct you because I love you, and I don't want to see you struggle. Piggyback on what Doc said. You've been through it 4 or 5 times. I'm gonna try to show you the way, or try to guide you in that way, so you don't have to go through it again.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Like in terms of correcting people, man, that's so. And I'm speaking more so like not my relationship, but I'm speaking even from my kids and people that are coming like behind me. It's so tough to correct people, bro, because we as humans want to do what we want to do anyway. I mean, it's like me saying, "Yo, listen, don't go kiss that girl." Don't do it. I'm telling you, because one, she gonna do this, and she gonna wild out, and then mess around. She might have you never know, and vice versa. This ain't anything picking on ladies, but the guys too. Don't go kiss that dude. Like, ain't no telling what bro got, how many chicks he been talking to, and this, and this. And then guess what? Out of nowhere, they be like, man, I did it, and I got this, and something came from it. And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes, bro, yeah, you can correct all you want, or you can say, you tell them what direction they need to go. But bro, as humans, I'm only giving you, what I've been through, what I've seen, what I know can happen. Look, I think that all in all, man, I think that love itself should be completely pure. And I think that Doc, one thing that you hit on in the last episode, brother, was being able to voice directly from your heart and not necessarily caring too much about what the person that's receiving the message thinks and trying to think, or more so pre-think their expressions based off of what you share. And again, I know that me personally, I'm still working on that. That's something I'm working on. But all in all, in episode 1, man, and even outside of just the recording of the podcast, one thing that I always hit on is that we're all a work in progress, bro. And I think that's why we still have this kind of platform, so we can express that. Look, Josh not going to agree with everything Derek says, and Doc ain't going to agree with everything Josh and Zach say. So I think that we continue to move in our own lane. We learn from our experience, and we come back to the table. This is what we talk and we chat about it. And that I appreciate a ton, mainly because we have different walks, and we're in different locations, and different people around us and all. So all in all, man, I do recommend definitely loving from the heart. Work gonna definitely be a part of the game though in marriage, and whether it be some days you're not gonna like your spouse, but that love piece is where it still kind of takes over, and hopefully you still can do some acts out of love and kind of move from there. But look, let me. I want to go ahead and actually move towards closing this thing out, man. I want to stop on my end and pass it over to the fellas and see if there's anything that y'all want to close up with or wrap this thing up with.
I think for me, one of the ones that I really wanted to touch on today, and if you guys don't want to, we don't have to, but when love becomes a job, what does it feel like, and how do you navigate through that?
Man, I think that I think at times, bro, it's funny because I think sometimes it will feel like a job. I think it kind of hits back on the point of like not liking sometimes. I mean, because bro, we could be bumping heads one day, and out of nowhere, whatever action I take on the back end of this is almost going to be almost like a job in a sense. But at the same time, I weigh pros and cons too. I look at it like, is this worth it? Is this worth my energy? Is it worth what I'm going to get out of the back end of it? And if it's going to be something kind of quick, cool, let's go ahead and knock this thing out. And I'm even thinking like, let me just go clean up the kitchen. Let me go clean up the living room or whatever. At times, I do think love does feel like a job. But what does it make me feel like? I think that it does make me feel like it's more robotic, and I'm not much of a fan of that. And I'm hoping that, in a sense, I think sometimes, man, actions at times turns into like a thought too. So it's like, all right, cool, let me do this. And then later on, I may felt robotic when I was doing whatever the action was, but later on I'm like, bro, I'm so glad I did that. I felt much better that I actually did do it because I didn't really want to, and I did. Bro, I think for me, I find the gratitude in doing certain things like that, even if it does feel kind of robotic and kind of job like. After the fact, I thoroughly enjoy the fact that I even did it. So
yeah, man, for sure. Like you said, when it starts to feel robotic, to me, I like to say it's starting to feel like a burden, right? But I mean that doesn't mean it's wrong. I mean, love is another job, and that's not a bad thing. Marriage is a partnership. Whether you want to, whatever you want to call it, it's real work, dude. I mean, real work. And the problem is people confuse, in my opinion, the feeling of love with the function of a partnership. Yes, I love you, but the bill still got to get paid. Yes, I love you, but sometimes I need to tell you no. Yes, I love you, but accountability is necessary. And love is the why. You know what I'm saying? Love has got to be the why always, because it's not the how. The partnership is where the effort lives. Don't let emotions cloud the execution of love. And the execution, in order to execute something, you got to work to it, whether that's strategic or whether that's learning on the job. That's just my opinion on it, man. But Derek, I'm with you 100%, man. When it starts to feel robotic or like, oh, I'm doing this because it's Valentine's Day or because it's her birthday or because the kids got to go to school, it's tough to navigate sometimes.
Absolutely.
110%.
And we just reiterating on the question, love is both sides. Love should be easy, but love is also hard.
Absolutely.
It should be easy, but love is also hard. And then when we go through those trials and tribulations with our significant other or our wife, we should always try to fall back on love. Love is what brought us here.
Right.
Love is going to keep us here, hopefully.
Sure.
We pray that. And our love that we have with one another should sustain us to get through whatever we're going through.
Hey man, speak that, Josh. Hey,
yeah, look,
she listening, bro. Whoever it is, you.
She know who she is.
That was a message right there, bro, for sure.
That was so specific, dog. I feel like you was looking through soul at the moment.
He screen
I love it, bro.
That was some brown. Some brown sugar type.
She know who she is.
Hey, she better hit the like button.
She knows who she is. These are my confessions.
Thumbs up.
These are my confessions.
That was foolish, man.
But
oh man.
Hey, look, those are my sentiments, man.
Hey, Doc, I don't think you answered this one, brother. I'm gonna come to you before we close out, man.
Yeah, man. I agree as well with the bunch. I think it is like a job to me sometimes, man. Like I think you hit on this, Zach, more specifically of like, in a relationship, bro, it is work. It is a job, and if I'm going to, what I always felt very like when I talk to other people, this doesn't really apply to me, but when I talk to other brothers, man, and they're just like, yeah, man, you know, my wife will do XYZ, or she would, you know, to her manager, she'll be so like, I don't want the right word, submissive or whatever you want to include there.
How
But
you
when
feel,
I
Doc?
ask for a sandwich or something, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things. And so I always kind of felt like that was weird, because I do think it's similar to a job. You have to match the effort. You have to match the work, man, in order, you know, to get a promotion. Yes, you know, you're not going to get payment towards this, but
Right.
but that's a different topic of like the money aspect and how you view it and all of those things. I think what's most important for me is to propel and progress or be promoted in my marriage, you know, to a different dynamic. And so yes, it is working. You know, as far as my spouse, it's kind of like we're equally bosses, right? Like there are things to where she has expectations of me to where in order for me to be promoted to this next level, I have to meet those expectations and vice versa of the life that we're in now. Not thinking back and saying like the same roles and responsibilities are the same as when we first started dating or when we first got married. No, it's different things in play now. Once you get promoted to a different level, the R&R's change.
Correct.
And so, and the expectation change. And it's not even, and furthermore, you know, it takes a longer time in between to get that next checkpoint or get that next promotion. So I think really just enjoying the grind of it all is important to me, although sometimes it's not enjoyable. And you know, you have to definitely like, you know, put love first, because a love gonna bring you back home at night.
Absolutely.
You may need the night to go out with the fellas, and you might got a couple, you know, that all running through you, bro. But that love gonna bring you back home.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? The love ain't gonna make you stay out until the next day.
Right.
It's gonna make you, you know, really understand that it's just like, yes, this could be done, man, but I choose you. Similar to how we said in the previous episode, like, I choose you every single day. And it's not going to look pretty all the time, you know, but a win is a win. We got through it.
Correct.
And, you know, whether we win by one or it's a blowout, it's still a dub.
Right.
And that's kind of how I look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, look.
I love that, Doc. I love that.
Yeah, I love it, man. Look, I love the different perspectives for this. And again, look, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and close it up with the title, just how we started it. We titled this one "Unlearning the Hustle and Loving Without Performance." But in a sense, man, it sounds like we still have the hustle ingrained in us, in a sense, and I don't think that's
Without a
going
doubt.
anywhere. So I love that we even portrayed this one and titled it this way. And at the very end of the episode, it's almost like we changing the topic. Like we're gonna change the topic from unlearning the hustle to continuing with the hustle, and it's still loving without performance in a sense. So let's make this thing second nature, man. And look, I admire my guys for being on here, and it's good to have you back, Josh. I know you missed the last one, but
I appreciate it, man. Glad to be back.
Oh, yeah.
With duty calls, man.
yes, sir.
I'm out there
Look,
trying to chase the grind, bro. Chase the grind.
we ain't mad at you, man. I love it. And look,
At all.
from DB, just again, thank you, Zach. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Josh. Thank y'all for watching, man. Thank y'all for listening. And again, we got Instagram, we got TikTok, we have YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you follow us on our social media links. I'll be tagging the links at the very bottom of the video. And look, we look forward to seeing y'all for that next episode. Y'all have a good one. Check your mics, and we out
Thank
here.
y'all for tuning in. Mic check.
Yes, sir.